The NCAA is going to try and crack down on fake injuries. And we're going to discuss today how this new rule is going to work. Will Backus at CBS Sports had a really good article about this. College football has a fake injury problem, and the NCAA is finally going to try and address it. The Rules Committee has proposed new penalties that are aimed at stopping players from faking injuries to slow down up-tempo offenses. If this is approved, the rule could change significantly after late-game strategy for teams trying to disrupt the pace of play, right? And you really saw this. The biggest example is Lane Kiffin has talked about it forever, and he decided if nobody's ever going to do anything about this, then fine. We will do it to the max. Ole Miss would consistently fake injuries to slow down the other team so that they could shift out players, switch out players, etc., do what they needed to do to set up for the next play on defense. I don't blame them at all because Lane Kiffin's offense goes fast, and when other teams would do it to him, he would get absolutely infuriated. So, the new rule here, fake injuries will cost you a timeout or potentially worse. If a player goes down after the ball is spotted, the team is going to be charged a timeout. You've only got 3 of those per half, so you don't want to waste them. If a team is out of timeouts, they're going to be hit with a 5-yard delay of game penalty. So if you're on defense, you're giving up 5 yards if you do something like that. The rule is going to be reviewed by the NCAA Playing Rules Oversight Panel on April 16th. Kirby Smart, who is the NCAA Rules Committee co-chair, which I found very interesting. All of these coaches have different things that they're doing, but I was surprised that Kirby Smart was in on this. He said having a set time frame of when the game is stopped for an injured player should hopefully curtail the strategy of faking injuries. Okay, I can see this. So let's talk about why the rule is necessary, right? The feigned injury epidemic. These up-tempo offenses, they force defenses to react quickly, but as I mentioned before, some teams have resorted to faking injuries to slow the game down. Players are seen flopping to the ground well after a play is over. They'll get up after the play is done. They'll look at the coach. Coach will tell them to get down, and they'll flop on the ground. And then they'll return to action just a few minutes later. Some of them don't even go out of the game. Right now, injury timeouts do not cost a team anything, which allows coaches to exploit the system with no repercussions. The SEC took action first. And, of course, now the NCAA is going to try and do their thing. In mid-2024, the SEC introduced penalties for coaches who instruct players to fake injuries. The first offense is a public reprimand. The second offense is a fine. The third offense is a possible suspension. The NCAA's proposal is going to take it one step further because they would directly penalize teams during the game. Is it actually going to work? Right? You've got real injuries and then you got fake injuries, and if you got somebody that's trying to play through something so that his team does not get penalized or whatever else, that could lead to some issues, right? How do officials determine if an injury is fake? Could it hurt players that have legitimate injuries who happen to go down at the wrong time, right? The NCAA may have to clarify what they constitute as a feigned injury, right? Because you're going to have to do that to avoid potential legal or medical pushback. The decision is going to come in April, right? The Playing Rules Oversight Committee, I mentioned it before, April 16th. If approved, this rule could take effect for the 2025 season. If it is enforced correctly, the rule could speed up games, it could protect the integrity of up-tempo offenses, and it could eliminate one of the most frustrating loopholes in all of college football. Is this the fix that college football needs? Or do we think that this could create more problems? I'm curious which direction it's going to go. I think this is probably a good thing. I think that there are more coaches that will not try and fake this, that we will get through games quicker because the games are lasting forever. Dennis Dodd had a good article that we might talk about here in a little while, but games take a long time, much longer than NFL games. And if you can't fit it into the right TV window, it is what it is. Same thing with, late games. An 8 p.m. Eastern time game should not be lasting until midnight Eastern. It's a 60-minute football game. What are we doing? So I'm I'm curious what you guys think about this. You guys jump in the comments. Tell me your thoughts on this one.
Thanks for listening to Winning Cures Everything. Make sure and follow me on Twitter @GaryWCE. If you want to toss in a question, you can email me Gary@winningcureseverything.com. Make sure and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.